Episode 148. Hello, Mr. Wrong. As if she had touched something burning, Lila Cox immediately threw away the test report and exclaimed, "Jake, what do you mean?" She was so loud that it was deafening. Mr. Robinson and his older son Alex did not expect Lila to become so emotional. She panted and said, "You could reject me, but why do you have to doubt me like this? Am I that worthless in your eyes?" Listening patiently, Jake stood still, his demeanor indifferent to Lila's tone. Miranda was standing behind him, curling her lips in contempt. Of course. Accompanying him everywhere, Miranda had seen clearly in Australia what kind of person Lila Cox was. If she had no self-respect, then there was nothing that could stop her.
"We will know for sure with another test,"
Carson Robinson said seriously.
"Both reports have my name on it, but the results were completely different. Could you explain to me, Mrs. Cox, which one is mine?"
Lila became pale and suddenly lost her words. At this moment, a nurse came over. Seeing many people standing around, she looked nervous and said in a low voice, "Miss Miranda Young?" Miranda heard her and turned around. The nurse looked anxious as she said, "The amniotic fluid sample collected from Miss Cox is lost. I could not find it. And also Mr. Carson Robinson's." Hearing that, everyone was shocked. Only Lila Cox looked incredibly relieved. Jake turned around and stared at Lila, wishing he could crush her right there. She shuddered and stepped back. At the same time, a doctor wearing a white cloak and a pair of black-rimmed glasses came by, shot a glance at them, and brushed past Lila without stopping.
"Then we should take another sample."
Jake's voice was loud and cold. The doctor looked back roughly at him. Noticing his glance, Jake turned his head. However, before he could catch a glimpse of the doctor's face, he disappeared at the end of the corridor. Hearing that, Lila became even paler and shouted, "No! You don't dare, do you?" Miranda provoked. "No! No!" Lila Cox cried hysterically. "We can't do it!" If she were to do it again, it would be a slap in her face. She needed her face, and so did the entire Cox family. The news of her pregnancy had been spread around in whole of Austin. If the results showed that it was not Jake's baby, then... no way. The nurse quickly came over and said, "The fetus is less than 4 months old. One amniocentesis has been quite risky. If we do it again, it will very likely cause an abortion." Hearing that, Lila Cox let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, she felt a pain in her belly. Covering her belly and bending over, she immediately became white-faced, as if all the blood from her face was drained. The nurse was startled and quickly put her hands on Lila's arm. "Someone get a bed here for me." No one saw that at the end of the corridor, the doctor who had just walked by was leaning against the wall, expressionless. The volatile emotions had made it hard for Lila to keep calm, which affected her baby.
"The debt you owe me can never be paid."
Thinking of what he said when they were standing in front of the genetics department, Lila Cox couldn't help shuddering. This guy was so daring. The door to her room was suddenly opened, which startled Lila. She jerked her head up. A man in a white cloak walked inside. He was not too tall, a little over 5'8". Wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, He looked serious and studious. Seeing him, Lila was shocked and let out a yelp. "What are you doing here?" The young man came close and took off his glasses, looking at Lila's face lovingly.
"That woman hit you so hard. Damn her."
Pushing him away, Lila said, "What are you doing here? Jake knows about you. If you are recognized by him, neither of us would be safe."
"Relax. I have hacked all the surveillance cameras. Even if Jake is good, he could do nothing to me. However, if it was not for me, you would have been forced to do another DNA test by now. At that time, you will not be the only one ruined."
Knowing that was true, Lila asked, "Didn't you say you went home? Why are you still here? When did you come?"
"I snuck out."
Stephen Wrong pulled a chair to sit down.
"Jake was even trying to find out things from my uncle. My uncle just called to ask me to go back and lay low. But I'm not scared."
Although he wasn't scared, Lila was incredibly and visibly very worried. "You think you are good? If it was not for you, we wouldn't be here. You did all those things in secret, and Jake did not know who you were. Do you think you could still live like this? At times like this, you should listen to your uncle and lay low for a while. If Jake caught you..."
"So what? What can he do?"
Stephen Wrong said disdainfully.
"Jake's father has the same rank as my uncle. His grandpa is a general, and so is my grandpa. I will not necessarily lose to him. Lila, I cannot begin to understand what is so attractive about him to make you so obsessed with him, that you are even willing to give birth for him."
Although she was not carrying Jake's child, Stephen Wrong still felt jealous.
"What are you planning to do now? You can't keep it forever."
Stephen Wrong glanced at her belly.
"If news got out that this baby is not Jake's, not only you, but your entire family will be destroyed."
Lila gritted her teeth and whispered to him, "Of course not. I will use Serena's hands to get rid of it. At that time, I will blame her for the loss of my baby, and she will suffer for sure."
"As long as you know what you're doing."
Public opinion was the most terrifying thing. "I do. You should leave now, and don't come back," Lila urged him, full of fear. She was worried in case anyone saw him around. Stephen felt a bit disappointed, pouted, and put the glasses back on before he left for the door. However, the moment he opened the door, he saw two arrays of tall, strong men. Among them, Jake was gazing at Stephen coldly as he said,
"Hello, Mr. Stephen Wrong. How do you do?"